after waking up with a jolt. The girl laid in bed a few seconds longer, reaching over to switch on her bedside lamp. She tried to remember exactly what had stolen her sweet slumber away, but she couldn't. The brunette swung her legs over the side of the bed and heaved herself up. Checking the time on her phone, she snorted when she saw it was midnight, watching the hour. Knowing that sleep would only evade her, she left her bedroom for the kitchen, a good cup of coffee on her mind. As she passed by her front door, a chill spread like liquid fire down her spine. It's only winter, she told herself. Focusing again on the coffee plan, measuring out scoops, water, and preparing her cup kept her occupied, but as the dark liquid boiled, she had nothing left to keep her mind from wandering off. The chill returned. She couldn't but help but glance behind her to her front door. It stood there innocently enough, just like always. The deadbolt was still in place, yet she could see nothing amiss with it. Turning back to her coffee, she did her best to forget about the feeling. With her cup in hand, she started back towards her bedroom. As she walked by the front door, she decided that a quick glance at the peephole would calm her restless mind. The chill worsened. With each step she took towards the door and further away from the safety and warmth of her blankets. She pressed her empty hand against the cold metal door and took a deep breath before leading her eye to the peephole. At first she could only see an inky blackness, and somehow seemed to swirl in itself. When she blinked in surprise, the void melted away. She wished it hadn't. In its place, there stood what she could only guess was once a man. The limbs were long, inhumanely awkward, with bulky joints branching off into several arms, not unlike the branches of a tree. The creature was draped in a black suit, somehow making the thing more nightmarish to her. The icing over the proverbial cake, however, was what passed as the hellish thing's face. It was though her mind blurred the ghastly visage to spare itself further from shock and horror. She shoved herself away from the door, with the hand still pressed against it. The scalding mug coffee fell, the liquid burning her bare legs as she fell backwards and tried to crawl from the door. She knew somehow that her mind hadn't been playing tricks on her. As she crab walked away from the door, she watched as tendrils as black as the void she first saw snake around through the cracks. The girl was trapped between the instinct to flee and the gut feeling not to turn her back on the door. When the door jolted, the urge to flee overcame her, and she slipped in the building liquid. As she tried to make it back to her room, she knew deep down that she was trapping herself in a corner, but she had to get away from the door. The girl was halfway down the hallway. She heard the previously locked door creak open. She screamed and slipped away into a wall, cracking her chin on it and stunning her. After that, there was only blackness. Nicole? A warm male voice snapped the woman out of her trance. As she turned around, she was met by one of the sister's doctors. She nodded, not sure if she should say anything, or even if she could find her voice, or if she did have something to say. That morning, she had gotten an urgent phone call from the hospital saying that her sister Lindsay was there. Before they had even let her see her, the doctor had pulled her off to the side and instead for the talk about what might have happened. Phrases like self-inflicted and assault had been thrown around, and Nicole felt her mind reel. She still hadn't fully understood what they had been saying until she saw Lindsay with her own eyes. Her little sister had a bandage wrapped around her head, covering both of her ears as well as her eyes. They said it was to keep her now deadened eyes from drying out and try to keep infection out of the wounds Lindsay had made to her ears. The doctors had guessed that either she or someone else had jammed a pencil into them to keep her off balance or to deafen her against something. There was a mix of first and second degree burns on her hands, legs, and feet from what was assumed to be the coffee her neighbors found slipped all over the entry to apartment. As Nicole walked into her sister's apartment for the first time, she thought that she had spied the silhouette of a man in a window that she knew was impossible. Her sister's room was on the third story of the hospital. Hey guys! Okay. Alright, so yes, this whole stream, you couldn't tell by it, this whole stream is about reading creepypastas. So, if you guys have any creepypastas you would like me to read, just say any name of them, and I will read them, or I can find some of my own. And Jay, responding back if you're even still here, I can put some images on the screen to make it a little more interesting, I guess. So we're going to do that. So we're going to go to this. Okay. Okay, I found another story. I just gotta find. Just gotta find one to go with it. I gotta find a good picture to go with it. If there even is a good picture to go with it. Okay, I really can't find a good picture to go with it. Who's all still here? So I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Alright, so we're just gonna go ahead and go to the next story. um, I'll try to actually incorporate music if I can find some to make these more scary, I guess. Okay. It was a week after my birthday, and I had some money that I got from my family. I had gotten an Xbox 360, but it didn't come with any games. So I went online to eBay and I found a whole box of games. It wasn't cheap, but I got it anyway. I assumed that the previous Xbox owners I assumed that the previous owner's Xbox had broken. A few weeks had passed and it finally came. There must have been at least 15 games in there. In the box, in the bottom, was one of my favorite games, Viva Pinata. So, of course, I started that game first. Everything ran normally until I actually started it up. At first, it was a little off, and the background seemed darker and more depressing. While I cleaned up the garden, I had noticed that there were gravestones in the garden. And the creepier thing was that there was fresh dirt around them, like it was just dug. I just thought it was nothing very important and carried on with my garden. Once I finished, I got my first shovel. and he was beaten up, like most of the first shows get. But when I had gotten it, blood was dripping off one of the sides, as if someone had used its edge like a blade. I was only slightly shocked to see that the shovel, nearly covered in blood, but what really frightened me was the pinatas. They all had no color. Then once you got them, they would shriek and moan like an animal in pain. That horrible sound still haunts me to this day. Their eyes had no pigment or pupils. They looked like they would glow at night. I kept playing. When I went to the store for the first time, the storekeeper storekeeper was hanging from a noose. Her neck likely broken and bloody, like the rope cut into her flesh. I gasped when she started to try to speak. All she could say was, "Help me." All I could do was exit the shop and to find all the water had been turned red like blood. My pinatas were all huddled around Cedos. I nearly threw up as I watched them feed on the mangled and scratched body. I wish I had looked away. The screen twitched and flashed images of my pinatas slowly eating each other. My screen went back to normal to show the garden completely covered in blood and bodies of my pinatas. Only one remained. The very first pinata I got. It was slowly slithering out of Cedos's empty eye socket. I tried to turn off the Xbox, but wouldn't turn off, so I plugged it. The console turned off, but the image of the pinata was still there, eating the remains of its fellow pinatas. The image faded away after about 5 minutes, finally ending the game. The air was warm, the sun was shining, and every pony in Ponyville was having a glorious day. The town square was bustling and crowded, and busy ponies filled the streets. All the pony folks seemed to have somewhere specific to be, all except Rainbow Dash. Her place was in the sky. She tore freely through the air, speeding one way and the next, buzzing the treetops and racing the wind. The blue Pegasus swooped over a schoolyard, much to the delight of the children, and then climbed several hundred feet and dove, streaking downward as fast as she could, seconds before hitting the ground. Her wings flew open, and she pulled back into the clear blue rainbow, felt alive. Suddenly, Dash remembered that she had somewhere to be. She was supposed to meet up with Pinkie Pie in 5 minutes. Dash had gotten so caught up in her exercises that she had nearly forgotten that Pinkie asked her to meet her at Sugar Cube Corner at 3. Pinkie hadn't said why or what they'd be doing, but Dash knew that with Pinkie, it could be anything. Dash wasn't sure if she really wanted to go, though she was so engaged with her stunts that she thought about blowing Pinkie off to continue flying. But Dash's conscience got the better of her. She knew that it would hurt Pinkie's feelings. After all, Pinkie had said it was going to be something special just for the two of them. Dash considered it and thought, why not? What did he have to lose? Heck, it might be more pranking. Pinkie might have found a bunch of more stuff to pull on folks. They did have so much fun the last time. Dash kicked it into overdrive to make up for her lost time and sped to her appointment. When Dash walked into the store, she was immediately greeted by her host, who was bouncing in excitement. "Yay, you're here! I've been waiting all day," said the jumping pony. "Sorry if I'm a little late, Pinkie. I was doing my afternoon exercises and I lost track of time," Dash apologized. Pinkie giggled and responded in a gleefully reassuring tone. "Oh, that's okay. You're here now. What's a few more minutes? I've been so excited. I've been thinking about all the fun stuff we're going to do. I haven't stopped bouncing since I woke up. I mean, I've almost forgotten to breathe. I've been so happy." Dash gave a slightly uncomfortable laugh. She always appreciated Pinkie Pie's friendly, outgoing way of life, but Pinkie's overabundant enthusiasm almost creeped her out. Dash maintained a polite expression. However, Pinkie was this worked up. Whatever she planned must be good. "So you ready to get started, Rainbow Dash?" "I got everything ready," the pink pony said. Dash psyched herself up. "You betcha, Pinkie. So what you got planned? Want to prank somebody today? I got a couple good ones I've been thinking about. Or maybe you got some stunts you think I should try. Or perhaps making cupcakes," Pinkie happily announced. "Baking?" Dash was disappointed. "Pinkie, you know I'm not good at baking. Remember last time?" "Oh, that's not the problem. That's not a problem at all. I only need your help making them. I'll be doing most of the work," Pinkie explained. Dash thought about it for a second. "Well, alright. I guess that's okay. What exactly do you need me to do?" "That's the spirit. Here you go." Pinkie handed Dash a cupcake. Dash was puzzled. "I thought I was helping you bake." "You will be. I made this one just before you got here." "So is this like a taste test or something?" "Sorta," Pinkie said. Dash shrugged and popped the pastry in her mouth. She chewed a bit and swallowed. "Not bad." "Okay, now what?" Dash asked. "Now," Pinkie informed her, "you get to take a nap." Puzzled, Dash opened her mouth, but felt instantly lightheaded. A wave of dizziness washed over her. The world spun, and seconds later she collapsed to the floor. When Dash regained consciousness, she found herself in a dark room. She tried to shake her head, but found that a tight leather strap held it firmly in place. She struggled to move, but braces around her chest and limbs glued her to her rack. Form a series of sturdy planks which spread her legs wide apart. Dash's wings were the only part that not tied down. As they fluttered frantically, she struggled to escape. As she withered, Pinky jumped suddenly into her line of sight. "Goody, you're awake. Now we can get started," Pinky stated gleefully. She bounced into the darkness and quickly reappeared, pushing a small cart covered with a cloth. "Pinky, what's going on? I can't move," Dash said urgently. "Well, duh. That's because you're tied down," Pinky said. "That's why you can't move. I didn't think you'd be needed told that." "But why? What's happening? I thought you said I was making you help cupcakes." "You are helping, you see. I ran out of the special ingredient, and I need you to get more." "Special ingredient?" Dash was now breathing heavily and starting to panic. "What special ingredient?" Pinky giggled to respond. "You silly!" Dash's eyes widened, and her face contorted in fear. Then she started to laugh and said, in a voice bordering on hysteria, "Whew, Pinky, you really got me there. I mean, tricking me into thinking I'm going to be made into a cupcake. I gotta tell you, this is the best prank yet. You win. You're the best." Pinky only giggled even more. "Aw, thanks, Dash. But I haven't done any pranks today, so I can't accept your praise." Dash was struggling again. "Pinky, come on, this isn't funny." "Then why were you laughing before?" Before Dash could answer, Pinky grabbed the cloth and whipped it off the cart. On the cart was a tray containing vicious assortment of medical tools and knives, carefully organized and irregularly sharp, as well as a large medical bag. Dash was in now full panic mode. She was starting to hyperventilate. Her mind raced as she tried to reason with the pink pony. "You can't do this, Pinky. I'm your friend." "I know you are. That's why I'm so happy that I got you here." "We're just gonna share our last moments together. Just you and me." Pinky was skipping again. "But the other ponies wonder where I am. When the clouds pile up, they'll come looking for me. Then they'll find you out." Dash cried out in desperation. "Oh, Dash," said Pinky. "Don't worry, there are plenty of Pegasus ponies that'll take care of a few clouds. Besides, no one will find out. I mean, how long do you think I've been doing this?" And with that ominous statement, the lights suddenly come on to reveal the rest of the room. "Oh no!" Dash reeled in horror at the image presented to her. The room was decorated with a typical betwisted pink pie flare. Colorful streamers of dried entrails fluttered around the ceiling. Brightly painted skulls of all sizes were attached to the walls, and organs done up in pastels filled with helium and tied to the backs of chairs. Tables and chairs made out of bones and preserved with the flesh of past ponies. Dash cringed upon seeing the centerpiece of the table nearest to her. The heads of 4 fowls, their eyes closed as if they were sleeping, were wearing party hats made from their own skin. With a thrill of terror, Dash recognized one of them as Apple. One of them as Apple Bloom's classmate, Twist. Dash eyes darted back and forth and fell upon a patchwork banner hanging from the rafters, made from several tan pony hides. The words, "Life is a party," were scrawled in it in blood red. Dash's attention was brought back by a party horn unfurling and tickling her nose. She gasped at Pinkie Pie, who was standing right in front of her. The party pony was wearing a dress quilted from dried skin and blazed with cutie marks on the back. On her back fluttered 6 Pegasus wings of all different colors. As the Earth pony skipped in excitement, her necklaces of severed unicorn horns clacked together loudly. Like it? Pinky said. I made it myself. Desperately, Dash pleaded with the smiling pony before her. Pinky, please. I'm sorry if I did anything to you. I didn't mean it. Please let me go. I promise I won't tell anybody. Oh, Dash, you didn't do anything. It's just that your number came up and, well, I don't make the rules. We can't turn down now. Dash was tearing up. How could this be happening? Aw, don't be sad, Dash, Pinky said. Look, this'll cheer you up. I brought you a friend. Seemingly out of nowhere, Pinky produced a brightly painted blue and yellow skull. It was about pony-sized, but it had a very defining feature. Is that... Hey, Dash, let's hang it together. These ponies are lame-os, dweebs. Pinky mimicked. I caught her right before she left town. Remember I went to the party for about 20 minutes? That wasn't enough time to play with her, of course, but I had to wait till the party. I had to wait till after the party to do that, but boy, am I glad I did. It's worth it. For the flavor alone. Griffins taste like 2 animals at once. It's amazing. I know she didn't have a number like everyone else in Ponyville, but when was I going to get another chance to try Griffin? I probably should have asked her where she came from so I would have gotten more, but I forgot. Tell you what, though, she was quite the fighter. She lasted a long time, which is a lot of fun for me. I got that chance to play with somebody other than a pony. For new things. Not too bad. She had such a meanie mouth. She said so much bad stuff, I just had to take her tongue out. You know, bad language makes for bad feelings, Rainbow Dash. Dash didn't have anything to say. She just sobbed and rolled in her tight bonds. Well, Pinky said with air of finality, that's enough reminiscing. It's time to begin. Putting down Lydia's skull, the pink pony grabbed the scalpel and cleft it in her left hoof and walked over to Dash's right flank without any flair. Pinky placed the blade half an inch above Dash's cutie mark and began a circular incision around it. Dash shouted in pain and tried desperately to pull away, but the braces held her still. Finishing the incision, Pinky grabbed the curved skinning knife from the tray, screwing up her face in concentration. She worked under the Dash's skin and sliced the hide away from the muscle. Dash ground her teeth as she tearfully watched her flesh peel off. Pinky then moved it aside, repeated the process on Dash's left flank. When she had finished, Pinky held both cutie marks in front of her friend and started waving them around like pom-poms. Dash whimpered. Her thighs burned like nothing she ever felt before. Placing the ragged patches of skin down, Pinky selected a large butcher knife and walked behind the blue Pegasus. I hope you don't mind. I think I'm gonna wing it now. Pinky laughed. She grabbed Dash's left wing in her mouth and played with it for a few seconds, yanking it back so the sharp pain reignited the fire in Dash's flanks. Then stretched the wing out. Pinky brought down the blade hard at the base. Instantly, Dash screamed and thrashing at her appendage. The movement threw off Pinky's arm. She had to try to hit the mark again but missed, and carved a huge slash into Dash's back. Dash, you gotta stay still or I'll keep missing, scolded Pinky as her friend howled. Pinky took another whack at the head of the target. She swung again and again. Blood sprayed into the air, but Pinky realized it wasn't getting anywhere. The blade was not going through the bone. I guess I forgot to sharpen it. I'll try something else. Matter-of-factly, as she tossed the knife over her shoulder, embedded in the blade in the table, with a haze of pain and tears, Dash heard the sound of a metal box opening and closing. Got it. Say, Dash, why do they call it a hacksaw? It doesn't hack. Hacking is what I'm doing with a knife. This is a saw. I don't get it. Pinky placed the tool over the mangled flesh of the last attempt. Standing on her hind legs, she worked the saw back and forth with her hooves. It sliced effortlessly through the bone and skin. The feeling of the jagged teeth grinding into her. The feeling of the jagged teeth grinding into her made Dash want to vomit. She watched numbly as her wing flew over the head and landed into some fluff on the table. Pinky moved to the next wing and started sawing. Dash didn't struggle this time. She had given up. Focused. She tried to give up the fight. Focused on choking back some screams of agony. Abruptly, the sawing paused. Pinky was only halfway done, the wing hanging off by a sliver. Hey, Dash! Pinky piped up. Think fast. Suddenly, Pinky yanked the wing as hard as she could. The bone snapped, but the blue pony's skin held, then tore away. The pull ripped along the strip of flesh all the way down Dash's back to her legs. Dash's back to her rump. Her body seized at the unexpected trauma. As her pelvis tensed up, Dash felt a warm release between her legs, and her loud, unending melody of pain filled the room. Unable to catch her breath, she blacked out. Dash awoke with a gasp. The stench of urine filled her mucus-caked nostrils. As her vision swarmed into focus, she saw a very pouty Pinkie Pie, removing a very large adrenaline needle from her chest. Stomping her hooves, the frustrated Pinkie lashed out at her helpless victim. Didn't anybody teach you any manners? It's very rude to fall asleep when somebody invites you to spend over time with them. How would you like if I came over to your house and went to sleep? Oh, I'm sorry, Dash. You're so boring. I think I'll take a nap. You think I like doing this all by myself? I told you how excited I got when you found you were next. I was excited to have a friend here with me while I worked, but no. You gotta be inconsiderate. I thought you were tough. I thought you could handle anything. I've had fouls stand up to better than you. Do I have to baby you, huh? Is that what you want me to remember you as? A baby? As Pinkie stopped to catch her breath, Dash blinked and sobbed softly. Her back was in agony. Her sides were on fire. There was an intense pain in one of her legs. As she blinked again, she saw Pinkie pop something into her mouth and begin to chew. Noticing Dash's stare, Pinkie gulped the morsel down. What? Pinkie asked. Oh, this? She held up another piece. While you were asleep, I got a little impatient and helped myself to a small sample. I got it from your leg. You're not bad. You want to try some? Without waiting for a response, Pinkie shoved the strip of meat into her revolted Pegasus pony mouth. Dash gagged and immediately spat it out. Pinkie frowned and picked up the chunk of flesh. Well, if you didn't want it, you could have just said no. She contemplated and disregarded the snotty morsel, then gulped it up. It's not like you haven't had my cupcakes before. Swallowing, Pinkie turned her attention to the small can on the tray. As she removed the lid, she revealed that it was filled with red-hot coals. Lying on top of the coals were silver large nails. As the adrenaline filled her veins, Dash began to panic again. Picking up the can, Pinkie walked over to Dash's left, holding some tongs in her mouth. Pinky carefully picked up the nail and positioned it seen between her victim's front leg and hoof. Then they grabbed a hammer and took careful aim. "No, Pinky!" Dash screamed. "No, no!" The hammer came down as the nail punctured Dash's skin. The white-hot burning was way too much. Dash screamed as she pulled and thrashed at the braces, causing her raw skin to rub and tear. Pinky tried to line up another nail, but couldn't find her aim. Then she let out a frustrating grunt. When Pinky brought the hammer back, took a wild swing, Dash burst out crying and begging, "Please stop! Please stop! Please stop!" Pinky rolled her eyes, putting down the hammer and tongs. She walked back in front of her friend and stared pensively at the broken Pegasus. Gilda didn't even cry this much when she had a live parasite stuffed down her throat. Pinky thought for a minute about what to do next. Then had a spark of inspiration. Rotating the wheel on the rack, Pinky laid Dash on her back. Then moved to Dash's hind legs, bringing the can with her. Picking up her tools, Pinky drove the searing hot spike of metal directly in the bottom of Dash's hoof. As Dash yelled in pain, Pinky moved around and drove a second nail through the hoof. Next, Pinky went back to her cart and located an enormous battery and controller, which she dragged over to where she was working. She tied copper wires between the terminals and the nails driven into Dash's hoof. Then she gave Dash a wink and flipped the switch. Electricity rocketed through Dash's body. The blue pony reacted immediately to her body seized. Her muscles snapped, taut. Dash's hips thrust skyward. Her eyes rolled back, and she let out a deep, throat-shredding cry. Pinky giggled and danced in place, then reached down and turned up the juice. Dash convulsed uncontrollably, then her bladder emptied once more. After about 5 minutes, Pinky shut off the power. Whips of steam rose from the singed fur around Dash's hooves. The area reeked of cooked flesh and burnt enamel. Pinky rotated Dash upright again and tried snap the drooling, delirious pony back to attention. "Dash! Dash! Rainbow Dash, wake up!" Dash moaned and managed to give mostly of weak acknowledgement. Pinky started her handiwork, then reached into the medicine bag and produced a large syringe. "All right, time for the last round." Dash focused barely on the needle, which Pinky took as a question to what it was. "This is a little something to take the pain away." Pinky informed Dash that she walked around her victim's ruined back. Dash flinched as Pinky jabbed the needle into her lower part of the blue pony's spine. Moving in front of her friend again, Pinky leaned down and elaborated, "In a few minutes, you won't be able to feel anything below your rib cage. Then you'll be able to stay awake to watch the harvest." Dash started crying again. "Pinky!" She choked out. "Yeah? I want to go home." "Yeah, I can see wanting to do that," replied the party pony. "Sometimes I just want to give up. Just say I'm done with this mess and go to bed. But you know what? You can't shrug off your responsibilities. You gotta pull yourself up and meet into the challenges head on. That's the only way you'll get ahead in life." Dash hung her head and cried. Minutes passed. As the drug took effect, eventually Dash was completely numb from her chest and her flanks. At this point, Pinky approached with a scalpel, glancing at Dash and smiling. Pinky made a long, horizontal cut across the Pegasus pony's pelvis, just above her crotch. Moving up Dash's body, Pinky made a similar incision underneath her ribs. Finally, Pinky made a long vertical cut down Dash's stomach, connecting the two first. Looks like I got my eye on you, Pinky giggled. With a moist, gooey sound, the flaps of skin opened. The sight of her own organs and the lack of feeling. The sight of her own organs and the lack of feeling caused Dash's breathing to intensify. Pinky carefully slashed open Dash's abdominal sac and grabbed her large intestines as she separated the organ from the rest of the digestive tract and pulled it out of the new cavity. Pinky grew jovial, laughing as she guided her friend. Pinky began to make jokes, Dash, growing weaker from this new source of blood loss, tried desperately to shout out in a macabre comedy act. "Look at me, I'm Rarity!" Pinky laughed, singing as the intestine tube around her neck, spraying blood all over in directions. "Isn't my nose scarf so pretty?" Reaching back inside, she sliced the smaller intestine off the bowels, squeezing it as excess excrement. Pinky filled the new slime organ with her teeth and dragged it back and forth. "Dentists say you get a floss every day." Dash was barely aware what was going on anymore. The shock was causing her to fade. Disappointed, Pinky dived back into the blue pony's guts, ramping up her routine. "Aw, don't go yet, Dash!" Pinky started to pull out the rest of Dash's organs, pausing with each removal. "I know I can be a real pancreas, but you know I'm just kidney with you. You really gotta liver it up." Boise jokes are getting bladder. "Guess you gotta really develop a stomach for 'em." Pinky placed the discarded body parts into a bucket, keeping the last one for a bit longer. "Ooh, bagpipes," she said, placing the end of Dash's esophagus into her mouth and the stomach in her armpit. She squeezed and then spread her stomach as it hit her tongue. "Ew! Oh, hey, look, Dash, there's your cupcake." Dash didn't hear her tormentor. She had slipped into consciousness a minute ago. Pinky, not satisfied, hit Dash with another adrenaline shot. Dash woke up for the last time. Her heart pounding, warm blood flowed out from the wound, her chest in great spurts. It wouldn't be long now. Pinky brought Dash around to the back and strapped the blue pony chest. Scalpel at the ready. "You know, Rainbow Dash, I'm disappointed. I thought you'd have lasted longer. I really wanted to spend more time with you before you got here. But I guess it's my fault. I should have taken it a little slower. Oh well, it was really nice knowing you, Dash." The blade sunk into the blue throat and worked its way up to Dash's chin, coming back down. Pinky's scalpel then circled Dash's neck. The last thing Rainbow Dash felt was her skin being cut away from her skull, then the metal blade scraping her teeth, and she was gone. Pinkie Pie stared into the mirror. She had done a really good job, even keeping the eyelids. She winked. Dash winked back. Pinkie smiled. But still, she was sad that her friend was now gone. Dash only lasted 50 minutes, not nearly as long as Pinkie had wanted. She looked up, back at the cadaver hanging in the center of the room, at the last of her friend's fluids draining into a pan. Yep, no more Rainbow Dash. As she looked, Pinkie cocked her head and she began to take notice at the fact that she really didn't do much damage to the corpse. In fact, the Pinkie pony mused. I think an idea exploded in her head. She was good at sewing, and she had all the pieces. All she had to do was just put them back together. Yeah, she had to get some stuffing, and bingo, she'd have Rainbow Dash forever. In fact, thought Pinkie, that's what she'd do for all of her best friends. When the numbers came up, she was so excited. She skipped right over to the body with her Skinner to get started. The cupcakes could wait. Pinkie Pie had a friend to make. Oh, yeah, so I'm bad at reading. Is there anybody here? Anybody here at all? I really need to get a. I like to use my microphone, but my microphone doesn't want to pick up my voice. Kind of sucks. On another note, you are going to be on. Are you going to be on the night? Yeah, I'm going to be on the night. I'm online right now, and that's how I'm reading the stories. Are you streaming too, Matt? What? Yeah, I'm looking for one, but aside from my horrible reading.
How I'm gonna sound in my mic because I'm in my office now. So, and there's not much in here.